The traditional English countryside, with its deer, its red squirrels, humble water vole, and white-headed duck. However peaceful they might look, all these British species are under threat or facing extinction from foreign interlopers. Interlopers like the muntjac deer, which was introduced into Britain at the turn of the century from South Asia by the 11th Duke of Bedford. A few escaped from his estates at Woburn Abbey. Now there are an estimated 100,000 in Britain, causing widespread damage to woodland and threatening the natural habitat of the red deer. Desmond Green, the senior ranger at Thetford Forest in Norfolk, warns of the danger posed by the muntjac, which can destroy whole areas of woodland.
Our main problems are damage to young trees, obviously from browse and from fraying from the bucks during the mating season and when they're cleaning velvet from the antlers. It actually causes great damage to the tree by scraping off the outer bark, and obviously, as you can imagine, if they scrape the bark off all the way around, the tree will eventually die.
One of the most notorious interlopers, the so-called Great Beast of Bodmin in Cornwall, was filmed on amateur video. Local farmers say a colony of pumas is at large. But in most cases, the threat is on a less spectacular scale. Red squirrels used to roam freely throughout the woods of Britain. Now they can be seen mainly in special reserves like this. The grey squirrel has taken over. Introduced into Britain from North America in 1876, they've bred more successfully and colonised broad-leafed habitats more efficiently than their red cousins. In the 1950s, a group of imported ruddy ducks escaped from here in southern England and mated with the native white-headed duck. The resulting hybrid was fit and healthy, but the number of white-headed ducks is now shrinking fast.
People are quite concerned that if we try and control ruddy ducks in Europe, it will lead to that species becoming extinct. But of course it won't, because it's very, very common in its home in North America. But if we don't control numbers of ruddy duck, then the white-headed duck certainly could become extinct. And obviously we're very concerned about that.
There are less than 20,000 white-headed ducks left in Europe, and their future looks increasingly bleak. By contrast, the ruddy duck is going from strength to strength and is threatening to swamp its closest relative. The elegant headquarters of the Royal Horticultural Society at Wisley in Surrey. But scientists here are studying an interloper which is far from elegant, a sinister predator which is attacking Britain's native earthworms.
Flatworms creep through the soil, and when they locate an earthworm, they produce a sort of anaesthetic effect on the earthworm, so it stops moving. The flatworm then secretes enzymes which digest the body tissues of the earthworm, and that enables the flatworm then to suck up the nutrient juices.
Originally from New Zealand, the worms are found in Scotland and are currently moving south at 5 metres a day. Much more attractive but equally dangerous is the mink. First imported into Britain in the late 1920s, it was farmed extensively for its pelt and has proved to be one of the most destructive species introduced into Britain. Hundreds of thousands now live in the wild. Notoriously vicious, they have no natural predators. They prey themselves on chickens, birds and above all fish. Stocks of trout in rivers and farms have been particularly hard hit. But this is a rare example of a foreign predator that has been contained. The koipu. Some 45 years ago, there were more than 200,000 running free, wrecking crops and wildlife. Now they're strictly controlled.
Here at Chester Zoo, we have the last remaining group of koipu in the UK. They're the only animals that we require a license for, and that's because the government are so worried about a repeat performance of what occurred in the 40s and 50s when the koipu was farmed for its coat and there were a number of escapes. This all occurred in the Norfolk Broads, where they did a huge amount of damage. They built up to very large numbers, and it took 30 or 40 years to finally exterminate them. This cost a lot of money, and it's for these reasons that our government keep a watch on how we keep our coipu, and they set the standards.
The Norfolk Broads have returned to the peace and quiet of centuries, a reminder that behind the most gentle and innocent facade, the delicate balance of nature can easily be upset by human intervention.